is on self-leadership for career development or for career growth. As you know, this is a changing world. The world is very dynamic. And as you graduate from your studies, you try to integrate into the greater society. And because you're coming with a lot of skills, you are also having some expectations from the world. And the world also has some expectations from you. And one of those expectations for everyone, either for workers or for leaders, is self-leadership. Because this is the fundamental principle that triggers sustainable growth or triggers sustainable development. And therefore, basically, what we understand, especially in management sciences, if we have to make a presentation, the first question is, what is the problem you're trying to address? Is there any problem in this field? Is it a general problem? Is it a global problem? Or is it a specific problem? Is it a problem limited to the Indian subcontinent? Or is it a problem that is of a global concern? The issue of self-leadership or the deficiency in self-leadership is of global concern. And that is why we have noticed in the past how many leaders have fallen short of their expectations. And I can give you vivid examples of a number of leaders who have fallen short of their expectations and were kicked out from their industry. They're kicked out from their offices. A typical example is one of the past directors of the International Monetary Fund, Strauss-Kahn. You have heard the story of Strauss-Kahn? No, okay. Strauss-Kahn. Strauss-Kahn was IMF director, and he was an economist, a very astute scholar and an economic administrator. But he visited New York, and he messed up his life because of lack of self-leadership. In a hotel where he was accommodated, he messed up with one of the maids. And America, they're looking for those type of opportunities to mess up leaders. The Americans, they know, look, we can't control ourselves. Any leader must live above board. They must control themselves. They must be treading on self-leadership. But Strauss-Kahn failed to make the mark. He attempted something on a maid in the hotel, and he was arrested. And that was the end of his career. He was sent to jail. Imagine from MIF director to jail. Americans, they don't care. I know of past chief court justices who are in jail because of a deficiency in self-leadership. So, the bottom line is that self-leadership is so important for industrialists, so important for entrepreneurs, so important for the school administrators, practically for all of us. Introduction and background. Organizational leaders need to recognize that self-leadership is an important factor for sustainable career growth or sustainable development. And I give some reference, Dowd 2020, Godsey et al. 2021. An abundance of research on self-leadership is very much valuable in the management domain. But in most of these studies, the researchers utilize methodologies such as quantitative methods. Now, self-leadership strategies significantly impact self-efficacy. And self-efficacy directly affects career growth. So I give some, references to these points. It's not like, a process of paratology or just repeating something without any evidence. So the researcher sonographically explored self-leadership for career development or career growth. Definition of concept. I try to define some of the concepts that I use in the research, and they're not very familiar with people in general. So self-leadership is one's capability or ability to influence themselves. You see, we can influence so many people out there in our communities or in our constituencies. That is leadership. Leadership is about influencing your constituency to be able to walk along with you to achieve the desired organizational goals. Self-leadership implies that you have to influence yourself. You have to have a sense of self-direction in order to be able to lead your organization or your community. First, you have to lead yourself. I mean, it's like a doctor. If he has so much of medical complications, he will not be able to help out dealing with patients. So the doctor has to, keep fit, healthy, by every means possible. So those who desire or those who aspire to be leaders, and keep in mind, one may say, well, I'm not a leader, so I wouldn't give a damn. But according to your own literature, according to the Bhagavad Purana, a parent is a leader. A teacher is a leader. So if you are not a parent now, you are a potential parent. You are in school. By the time you graduate and you get a very nice job, you grow economically, you will need to settle down with the family. That implies you're a leader. According to the Srimad Bhagavatam or the Bhagavad Purana, a teacher is a leader, a guru is a leader, a parent is a leader. And if you are not in a position to extricate your dependence from the shackles of material incoherencies or the shackles of birth and death, what we call samsara, repeated birth and death. Sometimes someone is born, and we are so happy when after 12 months he has or she has a birthday and we celebrate a birthday. So, what does that mean to us? So it's important for us to understand what life is all about, because life is about leading ourselves and leading our constituency. You have a family and you can't tell your child, you can't tell your son, don't smoke, and you smoke in chairs. You smoke in chimney. It doesn't work like that. So self-leadership implies having to influence oneself to be able to attain the accomplishments that you desire in your life. And that helps one to be able to become a great influencer of their congregation or of their constituency. Without being a self-leader, it is very difficult to lead a big organization, a big entrepreneur, an enterprise to a logical conclusion without running into difficulties. Because if you're a big shot out there in the company, you're the director or you are the proprietor of the company, like most of you will be proprietors of your companies when you set them up. So you need this behavioral pattern, you need this skill to be able to grow in your life and to be able to maintain a stable sort of equilibrium as you develop financially, socially, and whatever. Self-control is the ability to align cognition, emotions, actions with cherished goals in the face of fleetingly more appealing options that provide immediate sensory gratification. And sometimes, we have had this concept of delayed gratification. So self-control implies, because it is subsumed in self-leadership, and it implies that we see something and we don't just get enamored to it, we evaluate it, we make some analysis to be able to see the pros and cons and see whether it is something that is going to help us in our present endeavor, and if it is not something that is going to immediately facilitate the achievement of our immediate goals, we delay that gratification. That means we are into self-control. But in most cases, people in general are not self-controlled. And That's why people in general are not able to come to the platform of self-leadership. Social change is the augmentation of human or social conditions by supporting individuals, communities, or organizations' development. So I made a reference to one of the works that was published, DAS 2021, and Stephen Patterson, Kelly and mine, 2016. Now, sonic therapeutic intervention involves recapitulatory self-administration of specific transcendental sound vibrations that facilitate a positive change. I also made a reference to myself, and Prabhupada 2020, that is the Bhakti Vasudeva Swami. Now, sonic therapeutic intervention may be something like a strange terminology, but in India, sonic therapeutic intervention is all of this. Like you chant, you make prayers in the morning or in the evening before you sleep. So you chant mantras like Om, Om Shivaya Namaha, Om this, Om that, and these are all different, different types of sonic therapeutic intervention. And specifically, in this research, I focus on the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Problem statement. Like I mentioned earlier, if you have to make a presentation or you have to conduct a research, what is the problem that you are trying to address? So, although self-leadership is an imperative factor for workers' sustainable career development or to career growth, many workers, more often than not, implicitly lack self-leadership. And so there is a need to be able to generate ideas for people to, strategies for people to be able to develop skills in self-leadership. The COVID-19 pandemic had a devastating effect on workers' career development. And this is something, it's all pervasive. We can find that everywhere. No one needs to tell us. The specific problem is an organizational policy for. So that's a problem. And that's a specific problem we're trying to address in this very research. Research on self-development for career growth is negligible in the management domain. This qualitative study fills lacuna or the gap in the leadership literature. Purpose statement. Grounded in Rupa Goswami's Prabhupada 2020, Self-Realization and Manzi's 2015-1986 Self-Realization Frameworks. So, I'm making a reference. In the academy, especially in management science, you have to rest on past scholars. What is the basis of moving forward? So my basis of moving forward in this research is Rupa Goswami's self-leadership and Manzi's self-leadership. And this study basically explores leadership for career growth. Research question. The foundational question that was used in generating data for this research is, how does self-leadership help workers attain career growth? Methods or methodologies to design. I use qualitative method in this very research because it is a document review. Data was generated inductively through document analysis. The keywords are career development, high self-control, innovation, self-leadership strategies, sonic therapeutic intervention. Data collection and analysis. Document review facilitated data collection. Databases used. So, we have to document all of these stuff to be able to create a very clear understanding for any lay reader. So document data collection and analysis. Document review facilitated data collection. Databases that we explored for this study were Business Source, Complete, Premium, EBSCO, Elsevier, Everett, Google Scholar, Ingenta, ProQuest, PubMed, Science Direct, Taylor, and Francis, and Toria database. The data was analyzed thematically. It implies the whole process of analysis was geared towards generating themes regarding the usefulness of self-leadership to career development or career growth. Now the results. Now from the analysis of all of the data that was generated, but we came to this conclusion that self-leadership enables collaboration. And when people have ability to be able to influence themselves and have a sense of direction in their organizations, in working with others, there is bound to be an imperative factor of collaboration. If people are not really developed in self-leadership, it is very difficult to collaborate because always we want to reject other people's idea. We don't want to listen to anybody. We think we know it all. And that basically implies we don't understand even our Christian identity as the self. Because the self is viewed from two angles or two approaches. Now, according to A.C. Bhakti Vasudeva Swami in his commentary of the Bhagavad Gita, he mentions that people in the mode of ignorance, people in the mode of passion, identify themselves to be the whole of this physical tabernacle. This whole body is the self. Now, people in the mode of goodness, they understand that the spirit soul, characterized by Sakshi Ananda, is the real self. In other words, the entity, the spiritual entity or the spirit soul does not change. In fact, it is the same identity, the same spiritual identity we find in a man, in a woman, in a little child, in the adult, in the old, whatever. And so, if we understand ourselves as spirit souls, it makes it easier for even collaboration, because what's wrong in people who are from the same family to collaborate? It's a community. Family members, they collaborate. And globally, the whole world is a global family. Because according to Lord Krishna, in your own Bhagavad Gita, in Hindu Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna mentions, Mama evam so jiva loke jiva bhutan sanatana. That everyone in this world is his parts and parcels. In other words, we are one family. If we understand this basic principle, it becomes easy for us to collaborate, to work together, and to be able to pursue the ultimate goal of life, and even our organizational goals, personal goals, and whatever. It makes it easier. But without understanding our position as minute living entities, it could be very difficult to appreciate the fact that another person has skills that we could tap into to be able to enhance our behavioral pattern, to enhance the growth of our enterprise, to enhance the growth of our organization. And so, for you to come to that platform of self-leadership, you need to understand who you are, your Christian identity. That will help to shape your behavior. Otherwise, the tendency is to act according to the dictates of the mind and the sensory modalities. And I was a victim of that. I remember when we were kids, there was this this celebrity, I think it's Jimmy Cliff or something like that. He developed this, generated this album, and the main track was If I Follow My Mind. And the lyrics basically implies that, you know, whatever your mind tells you, you go along with it, you do it. If I follow my mind, I will never go wrong. Now, we understand from your own scriptures, from the Bhagavad Purana and from the Bhagavad Gita, that if you are a slave to the senses, if you are a slave to the mind and the senses, basically you can never be happy in this world. And so, the idea of self-leadership will make no meaning to anyone if the person does not even have an understanding of knowledge of the self, that we are not these physical bodies. The next time you see someone and you begin to analyze the person and diagnose the person to raise some abuses, think about it. Are we these bodies? We are not these bodies. So we view people based on external makeup, external behavior. Now, self-leadership also facilitates innovation. In fact, if you are skilled in self-leadership, the sky will be the limit of your achievements. What is stopping us from making haywire in our accomplishment is that we are seriously restricted in terms of being able to influence ourselves in positive decision making, in achieving our goals. And so we are not able to also have a bearing in terms of creating or being innovative. It's because if we don't even understand who we are and to act based on that principle, how are we going to make exceptional innovations? The people who invented all of these technological innovations, they were also very much spiritual. I know in the U.S. Army, you can't become a general if you're not metaphysically inclined, because the general will lead his troop in the war front, and if there is some danger there, he will perceive it and retreat. Now, modern day generals in most countries, they just lead their troops into fire. And so, being metaphysical in itself helps you to become an achiever in a sense. If, for instance, if you are in the military, you'll be able to lead your troop in a very positive way to achieve your goals. And therefore, that is an innovative tendency that we need to be able to understand based on our Christian identity. So, self-leadership helps us to become innovative. Pro-conventional. Self-leadership also enables pro-conventional consciousness. Pro-conventional consciousness means, I know this is not good. This is against the laws of India. And I just say, or it's against the ethics, or it's against the rules of my community, or the tradition, my traditional laws. And I say, no, I will not do it. Now, most people may know that this act will lead me to jail. I give you an example. There was a lady in the U.S. Her husband was the principal of a college, and of a high school, and she was also a teacher in that school. Now, she got attracted to one of her students, 17 years old. Now, in America, if you have sex with anyone who is below 18 years, especially when they are under your care, you are going to jail. So she was having exchange of messages with this boy, and then one time she realized that I could run into difficulties if I continue. She sent a message to the boy, hey, you know, if I get caught, if I take you out and I get caught, I will go to jail. So one would have expected that, oh, she's realized, she will back out. No, she didn't back out. She went ahead, took the boy out, had sex, and then the boy came back, disclosed that information. He was bragging, he had sex with his teacher. Disclosed that information to the girls in their class, and the girls, they got fired up out of envy. They reported the teacher. She was arrested. She lost her husband, she went to jail. So, my point is, self-leadership is so fundamental in our everyday reality. We also have people who are supposedly even spiritual, and they go away with somebody else's wife or somebody else's spouse. There are so many women who are not married, who are looking for partners. But if one is not imbued with self-leadership skills, you could destroy your whole family heritage. And I know of cases like that everywhere, even in India. I've seen cases like that. And so, we can't say self-leadership is just some skill set that is ideal for entrepreneurial development. It is also very important for those of us who are highly involved in the social culture. So, self-leadership facilitates post-conventional cultures. If we are self-leaders, when we know this is bad, like that lady, we will go back out and say, no, I'm not going to do this. Peace of mind, this is just a common thing. If we are self-leaders, basically means we have a control over our sensory modality. We will have a peace of mind. Self-management. If we are self-leaders, self-management becomes pretty easy. Because if we are able to lead ourselves or to self-manage ourselves, then the external change becomes easy. And so, the itemized 5 themes facilitated career development. Social change implications. Now, in the management sciences, one of the major, I remember when I was applying to do my PhD, that the school wanted to have a principle. What will your PhD do to be able to facilitate a positive social change? What will it do to help in transforming society? Or you just want to bag a degree and brag about the place that, no, I'm Dr. Vasudeva Das. No. So, social change implications is so important in world. And we are basically tuned in to this social change implication that each time we conduct research, we must bring in the social change implication. So what is the social change implication of this study to society? So I first defined basically what social change meant. Positive social change through enhanced sustainable career development. So this study, if implemented, results of the study, if implemented, will facilitate social change through enhanced sustainable career development. Also, it will enhance significant team leadership. If we want to lead teams, even if you want to lead your family in a very positive way, we need the self-leadership. And so, it facilitates team leadership. And it brings about result-oriented decision-making in the very workplaces that we dwell on in every day. The study results could enhance social responsibility. That's associated with achievement mindset. If social responsibility is something you're thinking of, to be able to render service to society as an entrepreneur, you have to think way ahead of your own limits, in the sense that when you imbibe a culture of self-leadership, that automatically will facilitate social responsibility. Because when you're an achiever, or when you're self-control, or you're a self-leader, you want to help people. You don't want to keep the happiness of your accomplishment just to yourself. So, references. I mean some references because we don't just talk in academia. What are your references? I'm very good at asking questions. So you said this, you said that. What is your reference? So I have references line up here. Yeah, that's it. So any questions or comments? I have also my website here, www.vasudevdas.com. That's my professional website, and my email, vasudevdas26@gmail.com. Yes, the floor is open for any comments. Any comments or questions?
Ask any questions. You can ask cordless mic. You can ask. Can I use this way?
So in the absence of any comments or questions, I would like to thank you for participating in this program. Thank you.
It was a great session, sir. Thank you for providing us insight on career growth. To have your thought about the career growth and how today's youth should take up the qualities of leaderships and how they should excel in their career was very well articulated by Vasudeva sir. I would also like to thank our principal and HOD for providing us such an informative session. I would also thank Dr. C.S. Pillai sir and Vaidya Subramanian sir for arranging this event. I would also thank Dr. Gopalakrishna sir for supporting us in organizing this event. Last but not the least, I would like to thank all the coordinators who have worked towards this event to make this event successful. Right from coordinator Dr. Prasad sir till Naveen sir. I would also thank the students who helped us and faculties who have worked to conduct this event. Thank you one and all.